Hailie Deegan is officially out of her ride at AM Racing effective immediately. What does this mean for the rest of her 2024 season? And does she even have a future in NASCAR moving forward?
High, push it, checker flag, hell yeah!
What's the caution for? Me?
Can I not push it in?
Stop anybody.
Come on, you guys! Way to go, boys! One hell of a job, man, one hell of a job. Thank you so much.
Not the biggest surprise in the world. We all kind of saw it coming, but oof, does this just plain out suck? Welcome on into the program. This is Shifting Gears, and I am Alan Bailey. Hailie Deegan and AM Racing have both separately announced that they have parted ways. And before we get into it, make sure that you mash that subscribe button so that you do not miss a video. And of course, log on to arnrace.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. Honestly, we all kind of saw this coming a mile away. You don't perform this poorly and keep your ride, no matter who you are, no matter how great your social media following is. Let's actually break this down. Hailie Deegan and AM Racing made it 17 races in the 2024 season before they decided to part ways. They each put out statements this morning basically saying they're done with each other. We'll start with AM Racing, who put out the statement that said, quote, AM Racing and Hailie Deegan have decided to part ways effective immediately. We are grateful for Hailie's contributions and dedication as the driver of the number 15 Ford Mustang during her time with the race team. We wish Hailie the best in her future endeavors and look forward to her continued success on and off the track, unquote. Very polite, very honest right there. I got to hand it to AM Racing for that one. Hailie Deegan put out the following statement saying, quote, beginning this season, I had a lot of excitement and hope in taking my next step in the NASCAR Xfinity series. It's something I've been working towards for years and always have dreamt about. I worked hard to prepare for this season after the team pursued me to drive their car. Unfortunately, it has not turned out the way that I expected. There are always several reasons within a race team as to why things do or do not work, but sadly our goals no longer align. With that being said, myself and AM Racing will be parting ways. The only thing I am focused on is getting back to being competitive. That is all that matters to me. I'm working as quick as possible to find the best opportunity to get back to the track. I am thankful for the following that I have and everyone who supports me. It's truly only me that knows the whole story and what I need to succeed. See you at the track soon, unquote. Ooh, interesting statement right there from Hailie Deegan. Very proper. She didn't throw anybody under the bus, and I get it. AM Racing's priority is honestly putting that number 15 in the top 10 and having decent showings, good showings for their sponsors at this point, honestly. And yeah, they did seek her out according to Miss Deegan here, and I don't think that they were ready for a rookie. I don't think that they had the equipment and the know-how to kind of develop a rookie's skills. And Joey Logano proved over the weekend, qualified 15th, finished 8th at the Chicago Street Course in her car, that the car does have some speed, but he also proved that the race team does have some massive cracks that they need to fill. At one point in the race over the radio, Joey Logano was explaining an issue with the car and how the issue was getting worse over the long run, and the crew chief over at AM Racing responded back with, so do you want the air pressure higher or lower? They sincerely didn't understand how simple air pressure adjustments work in a car. By the way, if it gets worse over the long run, you might want to lower that air pressure. Me, somebody who has no knowledge, and I will repeat that very loudly and very bluntly, no knowledge or skill in setting up a race car, knows that. But the crew chief of the actual AM Racing car doesn't. That's bad. And I know they just let go of their crew chief a few weeks ago, and they have an interim crew chief in there. And my understanding is it's the competition director over at AM Racing. So the fact that the competition director doesn't know how simple air pressure adjustments work tells you all you need to know about AM Racing and the status of that race team at the moment. I don't think it's a good environment for a rookie. No rookie will go in there and succeed, let alone one like Hailie Deegan who hasn't had a lot of on-track success. And the fact that you have NASCAR champions, a two-time NASCAR champ and Daytona 500 champ in Joey Logano going in there and saying they don't know what they're doing, clearly, then it's pretty bad. And we did find out that Josh Berry is going to be driving the 15 at Pocono this weekend, and presumably we're going to see kind of a rotation of Cup Series regulars and veterans kind of jumping in that car, I think, within the Ford camp. But I don't know. Maybe they're going to call their old friend Brett back and get him back in the car. That does seem like a possibility, honestly. But let's talk about what Hailie Deegan can do moving forward. Realistically, and I can't believe I need to say this, but I will say this loud and very bluntly here, Hailie Deegan is not ready for the NASCAR Cup Series. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, she can go in the 66 car. No Cup Series starts for Hailie Deegan. She's still getting her feet wet in the Xfinity Series and clearly could use some more seat time in the lower series before jumping up into the Cup Series. But realistically, where can Hailie Deegan land for the rest of 2024 and 2025? Let's actually look at it. Firstly, no, Hailie Deegan is not and should not make a NASCAR Cup Series start at this point in her career. Go ahead and stop that rumor right here, right now. I saw Hailie Deegan of the 66 online, and it made me want to pull my hair out. No, not a happening. Let's go ahead and say she stays in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, which I don't think is a bad idea if this is where she wants to be long term. Realistically, there are 3 Ford teams at the moment in the series. AM Racing obviously is not an option, and that leaves 2. One is RSS Racing, who currently fields a 4-car team, and this feels like a little bit of an equipment downgrade from the AM Racing situation for Miss Deegan, and I do think that this could be a landing spot for maybe 1 or 2 one-off races here in 2024, or maybe the rest of 2024 if Deegan brings in a sponsorship, or if RSS has some sponsorship. They kind of have a rotation of drivers in their 4 cars, with a couple of them running full-time at the moment, and their plans change, frankly, week to week. They're just one of those organizations. No offense or disrespect to them. The other massive likely landing spot for Deegan, if she does stay in the Xfinity Series, I think is Haas Factory next year. Cole Custard and Riley Herbst currently drive the 00 and the 98 for the organization. We do know that they are going to stay a 2-car Xfinity organization next season, and both Herbst and Custard have both been linked to separate rides in the Cup Series for next season. So presuming that one, if not both of those Haas teams, the Haas Factory team cars are vacated for next season, this could be likely. Could Gene Haas potentially take a chance on Hailie Deegan? Maybe. It depends on what the relationship with Ford looks like between Deegan and Ford, and Gene Haas and Ford, and Haas Factory team and Ford. If it's a strong relationship between all 3, then maybe it could work out. But I don't know. This seems very unlikely, but a potential at the same time. In the Truck Series, there are currently 3 Ford teams in the Truck Series. You have her old team of Thor Sport, 4-car organization with a 5th part-time. Maybe Deegan does go back and race the number 66 for one-offs here or there. It is cheaper for you to kind of buy a ride in the Truck Series than the Xfinity Series, and I do think it's likely that she goes down to the Truck Series for a race or 2 here or there. I think that it could be a good idea, actually. Go to your strong tracks and really see what you can do in that series with the skills you learned in Xfinity. Despite what people will say, I do think that Hailie Deegan is a better driver now than she was at the beginning of the season. The other 2 landing spots in the Truck Series, front row, I don't think they're kicking Lane out of that car, I should say. And I really, really don't see them expanding to 2 cars. The other one is the Resum brothers with the 22 and the 33. This has been kind of a rotation of Ford drivers. Frankie Muniz just made a start for this organization. Supposedly he's going to be back for a few more this season. Maybe Deegan jumps in the 22 when Frankie Muniz isn't in it, and that's the development landing spot for Deegan for at least a handful of races this season, maybe full-time next year. I don't know. The other possibility, if Deegan really stays with Ford and that relationship is strong, she might actually jump over into a GT3 car and do some sports car racing. I think that this actually would be a really good idea for her. She ran the Roar before the 24 a few years back with Chase Briscoe in the car with her, sharing a car, and they were not only very competitive, but they were actually leading. Hailie Deegan was leading in that car and stayed in the lead. And I do think that she does have the talent to be in NASCAR. The question is, with so little Ford teams available in the lower series, she doesn't have many options right now. And I'm going to go ahead and just throw this out there. I think that her signing with Ford probably was the downfall of her career. When she was with Toyota, she was tearing it up in the lower series and was on a pretty decent little path right there. But she, I feel, got a little impatient and wanted to jump up a little bit sooner. And because of that, she signed with Ford, and they threw her into, let's be frank here, a handful of ARCA starts and into the Truck Series before I think she was ready. And no, I don't think going down to ARCA is really going to help her at this point. I think that she needs to make some maybe Cars Tour starts and try to make a Truck and Xfinity start here or there for the rest of the season and really kind of get your own confidence back behind the wheel of a car and really set yourself up for the 2025 season. The 2024 season is a wash at this point. Just go out there, find some competitive vehicles, race them. Hopefully they're with Ford so she appeases the Ford contract. But frankly, if you have an opportunity to race a Toyota, race a Chevy, maybe go talk to those two manufacturers and see if they have a contract maybe that they're willing to offer you. I don't think it's too late for Hailie Deegan. I think that right now is extremely critical. She has to do a career reset, and there's nothing wrong with that. She just has to find some competitive rides, put some money together, and go out there and continue to race. I don't think that AM Racing was ever going to work out in the short or the long term for her. But the question now is, will we see her in NASCAR moving forward? I hope so. I think that she's great for the sport. She is at least... she was the only full-time female driver in all of NASCAR's top 3 series, and that's a tough gig, man. It's really, really, really tough to make it in this sport, and that's another hurdle she has to kind of climb over unfairly, and people are looking at her with a magnifying glass, I think, unfairly. I think you look at her like any other driver, she was rushed up, and I think we have to put aside the fact that she is a woman and put aside the fact that she has this massive social media following, because that is great and all good and well, but it doesn't make you faster on race day, and I think she knows that. I think she's taking this seriously. She's been kind of radio silent on social media for the last week or so. No, she hasn't put out a new t-shirt or a new YouTube video. That's not her priority. The statement she released said that her only priority right now is to be in a competitive vehicle. And I think she's making phone calls, talking to sponsors, working on that right now. We're going to see what she and her sponsors and Ford come up with. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think we'll see Hailie Deegan full-time in NASCAR within the next year or two? Or do you think she's done in NASCAR? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're there, make sure that you mash that subscribe button so that you do not miss a video. And of course, in between videos, you can go ahead and log on to arnrace.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. Going to be a very busy couple weeks for me. I'm going to be back on Low Budget TV for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be at Orange Show Speedway this weekend for the demo cross out there. It's going to be live Saturday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And you can go ahead and watch full coverage from the stands in San Bernardino, California with me. And I'm interested to see what we do out there. And I'm going to be heading out to Chino for the Chino Demo Derby here the week after that. So busy time for me. Log on to lowbudget.tv to go ahead and check out all the great racing action. So for now, for Shifting Gears, I'm Alan Bailey. We'll see you at the track.